know this is not a sports podcast or anything like that, and it's funny because of a subject that we talked about a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I know where you're going.
Yeah, Damar Hamlin.
That was scary.
Defensive player for the Buffalo Bills. Routine play looked like.
Very normal.
Because I didn't see it happen in real time. And everybody's like, oh, don't share the play. And, of course, you're eventually going to see it.
You don't see the play.
I went to try to find it.
Well, actually, there was
wasn't hard to find.
There was a doctor who addressed what they think happened. And so that's how I saw it. And then I was like, well, this just looks like, because he got back up.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to, of course, prayers to that young man and his family, because, this is the thing. It brings everybody's mortality who plays professional sports and specifically football, because this is such a freak accident. What happened, because I can be encouraged and think, okay, this young man's going to come out of this, because it happened to a hockey player who played for the St. Louis Blues. Shane Corson.
I think they say he played like 11 years after.
Yeah,
that
he got hit in. He got basically hit in the heart with a puck.
Yeah,
and had a heart attack on the ice.
Wow.
Yeah.
And cardiac arrest, specifically. And he wound up playing. He was on ice 2 weeks later and wound up played another 11, 12 years.
I think
a Hall of Famer.
This kid's 24 years old.
We still should have. We never traded Shane Corson or Brendan Shanahan for Shane Corson, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, this kid being 24 and his mom actually being at the game, and they said she rode with him in the ambulance to the hospital. It's just one of those things where you talked about mortality, but the players' reactions was telling to me, because they were 100, like they were legit concerned and like bothered and disturbed. You could see it was a real situation, and
because when somebody else, like, you might tear an ACL or something,
yeah,
you get wheeled off into the ambulance and you give the peace sign, and people feel like, okay,
he's gonna be all right.
He might have to go through rehab, but he's gonna be all right. And when you don't know if your teammate is going to live or die,
yeah, that was
CPR
scary.
is different. Like that's
scary.
Yeah, that's scary, bro. Like
that gave me 𝐀𝐁𝐿𝐴 vibes. I don't know if y'all remember. And that's a different sport, but it looked like when 𝐀𝐿𝐴 ran up the court and then just collapsed.
Reggie Lewis for the Boston Celtics.
After he like literally shot a free throw, collapsed on the court.
Even John Stewart, a local high school kid, exact same thing happened to him in high school. Yeah. Died on the court.
I remember the Reggie Lewis game because he played for the Celtics.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing happened to him at the Boston Garden.
Mm-hmm. But like, I've never in my life seen a football play like that.
No.
To where they had to administer CPR on the field. That's crazy. Like, I've seen people get hurt bad, but not to the point where somebody was not breathing.
Yep.
And they're sitting there trying to perform a CPR for 9 minutes straight.
Yeah, and
that's
I saw
nuts.
Like a couple of big hits during this past week in the NFL. One of them, like, I can't even remember. I didn't commit it to memory like that. Where, it was a helmet to helmet hit. They kicked the defensive player out of the game, and when you see that, you're like,
that was a Colts player that got smacked like that.
Was it?
Yep, it was against the
Giants.
Was it the Giants or Chargers? One of the two.
Yeah, but it was a couple of hits like that this weekend. But the people were all right when I saw this young man. Like I said, routine hit, didn't look like it was particularly violent.
What did the doctor say? What it was on the thing that you seen?
Basically, like, your heart is basically runs off of an electrical current.
And throws the rhythm off.
It throws the rhythm off, and like it's this small little time in the cycle of your heart beating, to where if you receive a certain level of blunt force trauma to your chest cavity near your heart, or actually hit you right in the heart, it basically will stop your heart. It's a rare thing, but once again, at this point, like, I can speak to more than one time where this has happened. Like, I remember there was one of those ESPN human interest stories. There was a kid, he hit a 3-pointer to
I remember that,
and somebody ran on the court, and like they were trying to hug him, and like, all the elation and youthful exuberance, and when they hit him, like, basically he went into cardiac arrest.
Yep.
It was such a you know, it hit him exactly the right time in the exact spot that will stop your heart.
That's crazy.
You know, so it's super random. I mean, I know we talked about.
It says that the window is only 40 milliseconds long.
Yeah.
Wow.
Making the condition rare.
Yeah.
So
So
he was still able to get up.
Yeah, he got up. That's
Yeah.
what was crazy. It looked like he was getting ready to go back to and then just collapsed, and so he went into cardiac arrest. But
Did you guys see?
yeah, crazy.
Did you guys see Skip Bayless getting dragged for his tweet?
Man, Skip is on one.
Yeah,
man.
but I don't
Did you
really.
see that, did you see that tweet, Long?
Yeah, but for all the things that Skip does, I don't really see what he said that was super out there that was wrong, though.
You don't. What about the
It
timing?
was just timing and it being.
Did you see the
insensitive.
last thing that he said in his tweet, though?
where he says,
What was the last thing that he said?
He said
None of
which-
that
which-
seems like it matters anymore.
which suddenly seems so irrelevant.
Yes, that's what else do you want? I mean, like he's assessing the situation from a standpoint, and then he's, I mean, you could say the timing of it, but what is this guy's job, man? It's his
hot
job,
takes.
It's his job to have a hot take and to talk about this stuff. I just don't see it as this crazy like, oh my God, he's so insensitive as everybody else is saying. He literally said, this seems so relevant anymore. He's showing empathy with that.
I personally wouldn't have brought up anything about the time of the year, playoff implications, or anything. I wouldn't have said none of that.
But it's relevant to it.
I mean, but at that moment, I don't think it is.
It's Skip Bayless, man.
I think it's
the
about
problem,
it's
the
about
problem
the
is
kid
that
at
it's
that point.
Skip Bayless, and everybody knows Skip Bayless is kind of hanging on by a thread now as far as his sensitivity meter is concerned.
That puts extra sauce on it. I give you that because of who it comes from. I get that part. I'm not mad at that. To your point, I see that, but I don't know, man. It's just they are. I'm talking about getting. You talking about getting dragged?
I mean, but
former athletes,
people
everybody,
aren't messing
really
with,
dragging.
you know.
I mean,
'cause
I
they
saw
felt like-
Shannon didn't show up to the show, I guess.
He
Well,
did.
Shannon shouldn't have showed up the day he went off on him
Yeah.
for no reason.
Yeah, so I don't think, especially Shannon being a former NFL player,
Great
it was
player, though.
probably a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, great player.
I do not think it was. I think it was in his best interest not to show up today because you saw. Shout out to Ryan Clark. He
Handled it very well.
And, you know, he said something that was very telling to me. At one point, he had a very serious injury, and he wanted to get back out on the field. He had all these people lined up who were going to say, okay, he can get back on the field. He's good. And Mike Tomlin was like, absolutely not. Like, because, you know, if you were my child, there's no way I'd let you play. So you're not playing.
Nah.
Yeah.
You know.
And the
I respect
NFL
that.
ought to be ashamed of themselves too, because they're not the ones that stopped the game yesterday.
It was the Players Association, right?
Well, the players themselves and the coaches took it upon
Oh, really?
themselves. They was pretty much telling them, take 5 and get back out there.
Oh, I see.
I mean, but the NBA, the NFL has been a little spooky anyway because how many times is Tua going to have a concussion
Yeah.
for y'all not to actually sit him down and make sure that he's okay? And the coach, the first time, that bad one on that first hit was like, oh man, well, he's had leg injuries and stuff like that, so we think that has something to do with it. It ain't had nothing to do with no leg injury. Y'all saw what happened when he got
Nothing's
his head.
going to stop the truck of the bottom line of the NFL, man.
Nah, that's absolutely true.
That's,
You know,
I mean,
the only thing that's going to
$10
happen,
billion is
That's
not.
a
You
good
know, come
point.
on now.
what's going to happen?
That's
though,
sad, but that's a good
I see
point.
a lot of parents looking at these games like, I'm not letting my kids play football.
Yeah.
I mean, I was one of the kids that wasn't allowed to play football, honestly,
Okay.
when I was coming up.
Did you
And
want to play though? Did you
I
really
did want
press
to play.
the issue?
I mean, I
Okay.
even went out for the team at one point in time
Okay.
just to see if I can make it. But yeah, there's a lot of people that are looking at this like, there's no way my kid is getting on that field ever. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think it's a look. I mean, Jay, you play football. All of us at one point in time really enjoyed football, and I only say that because I used to enjoy it a lot. I abstained for a long time now, but I mean, we would be lying if in my opinion, I would be lying. Let me just speak for myself. I would be lying if I looked at this sport and said, like, the people defending it are because they like the sport. That's it.
It's hard because I still enjoy football.
Yeah,
I'm not mad at
I
that
still
long.
watch. You know, I sat up
I'm
and
mad
watched
at
the playoffs for the college kids.
Yeah.
Who are, you know, I have an issue with them not getting paid
Seen
the way
Ohio
they
get
should.
beat. No,
Yeah.
well, Ohio and Michigan.
Yeah.
Shout out to them NIL deals though.
Yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
Shout out to the Big Ten for just having 2 shots at the apple
Man.
and missing them both. But you know what, I mean, part of it is because I'm a degenerate gambler.
Wow.
Still enjoy the NFL.
You got Michael Jordan problems.
You got Dre
Man, put that phone down,
Look,
brother.
man,
Put it down.
look, this is the thing. You know, in Space Jam, Michael Jordan had a gambling problem in that movie, and it was for kids.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, go back and watch the movie. You'll see what I'm talking about.
Well, that's back when they were still keeping it real.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, because I watch, that's my thing. Like, as you know, once run clock rolls around, I make sure my lineups are set.
Oh man, look
I
how
turn,
big his eyes get.
I turn between Fox and NBC, no, it's CBS, and hopefully I can the Steelers
Start
will be
watching
on.
the ticker.
Yeah, trying to see who did what, and
It's all about money, man.
and
There
then
we
it'll
go.
roll into the Sunday night game, and I'll make sure that's when
I get it.
got to go to work. So, but I'll still have the game on
Look,
at
I
work.
get it, man.
Lone, are you surprised?
I get it.
Lone,
I get it.
It's
Are you-
it's
let me
it's a hard narcotic for me to break from.
Let me
It's like
ask
sugar, man.
Let me ask you this, Lone, as it relates to the money conversation, right? Are you surprised? We're talking about people that love the sport, but even with these guys going through the injuries that they're going to, do you see any type of pullback at some point from the league, or is it going to always be about the bottom line? Because at some point you got to rock with the safety at some
You
point,
set
right?
me up here.
I am.
It's capitalism. What do you mean?
It's America.
Well, like, what do you mean? Like,
Yes.
the NFL is a bottom line, period.
Yeah.
No matter what protocols that they put into place, if it messes with the bottom line, there's going to be a lot of board meetings, and there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be in those conversations that are going to be like, well, we have to weigh the player's safety versus this. And there's going to, it's going to take a lot of pushback for, I mean, what can you really do with the game where the intent is to tackle the other person?
Listen to
Like,
all.
what can you really do?
You
know,
cannot make it's like when people say we've got to make boxing safer. You can't make boxing safer.
You
Go
All
li-
they're doing
go-
is advancing the technology for the pads and equipment that they wear. But think about the players that played years ago, who were getting paid a fraction of what these men are getting paid, and were getting dog walked every day on the field.
Yep.
Go listen to Warren Sapp talk about today's game.
And that's an argument that a lot of people that are older will play. Well, the older generation, these guys get paid so many $1 million to get out there. Who cares if they get hurt? It's like, do you not want it to be better for the next generation?
Right.
You're
You know what I
supposed
mean?
to.
Like,
In my opinion,
just
you're supposed
because
to.
you went through a whole bunch of crap and, it sucked for you, doesn't mean that it has
It's like
to
a
suck for the next
degenerate
person.
parent.
We talked about this with
what parent
producers.
wants to see their kid have to go through the same stuff that they went through?
Yeah.
You know what I'm
You're
saying?
supposed to
I
make
struggle. My kid got to struggle.
Your goal is to make their life
Conservative
or their-
ideologies.
whoever's life better than what it was before.
Yeah.
But when you talk about creating
That's-
a better
that's real.
life, you got to understand how a lot of people see the NFL as their opportunity to create generational wealth.
For sure.
their
It
families.
is.
I get that.
Let me
Make
just
it flag
as long
football.
as I get to that second
But
contract.
when you
then
think
I
about
can
the
create-
percentage
Exactly.
of NFL players that are actually able to create that generational wealth, because a lot of them end up working regular jobs because the career is so short.
Yeah, like I said, everyone is their whole thing is get to the second contract.
Look, man, you guys remember Roosevelt Potts, right?
Yeah.
Played fullback for the Colts. I think he got a Super Bowl with the Ravens. I could be wrong. I worked with him at a summer camp.
I work with
In the
somebody.
90s,
I
in the
work with someone that
2000s.
played for the Colts right now.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, now granted, I think he had some issues, but
money.
super cool guy. But I'm just saying, like, I was like a college person working a summer camp as a counselor in 2003 or 4, and one of the other people in charge of the same age range was Roosevelt Potts, a football player that is supposed to have generational wealth. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But that's a whole different, that conversation right there. Another can of worms. Think about people like Antoine.
Super anecdotal, but
Yeah,
still.
but I feel you. But I feel you though, because look at people
You
like
have the
Antoine Walker,
opportunity
bro. He had
to
100 million.
create opportunity,
He did.
generational wealth.
Yes.
Right.
It doesn't guarantee that you're going to do it because
Literacy's better now than it was back then. That's true. There are more people invested in like
Right.
the lives of the football players to help when they get into the league.
Yep.
That they, that's more of a conversational piece now than it was.
Man,
and pro athletes.
When
which
I
is
found
great.
out, when I heard Antoine Walker from Celtics and played
He
for the
just
Heat,
jacked off money.
he tricked off over $100 million.
That's crazy.
That's
man.
just poor spending.
No, but you know what? Part of it
Bro,
is like
but
he
that's-
got into real estate right when real estate fell off. People try to open restaurants, which are remarkably hard to maintain and become profitable.
Shout out to 𝗀𝗏 though, because he opened up one. I hope his does well.
But a lot of times people don't realize. And like I said, we had the conversation last year about investing, and I'm glad people didn't listen to us really too much talking about NFTs.
Cryptos.
Man.
Yeah, because that is
That's why we kept saying
This is not
This is
advice.
not-
plan advice.
Yeah. But
You'll be broke.
if you'd have taken that same, take the same $100,000 and put it in the blue chips that you would have put into investing in your buddy's restaurant, in 5 years, you got $300,000. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's something, once again, when you talk about financial, you have the opportunity to create generational wealth if you don't spend it all on gold chains and Range Rovers and child support.
But Lone is right though, as it relates to resources now versus the era that we were talking about. I do think
We didn't have these conversations before.
at all. That's
People didn't talk. People would get money and not talk about money.
It's actually a good thing, especially in the black community. There were no financial advisors just walking around that I can remember.
Well, no, because
That was telling
it'd be
people-
somebody's cousin be like, "Hey, man, you want to flip this?" That was your financial advisor.
Exactly. Versus actual financial advice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just kind of second my thoughts that I had a couple weeks ago. It's just, I don't know. It's a violent sport. Boxing is extremely.
True.
I'm talking about like from the amount of money that it can make.
Yes,
is
yes.
super high, and all those contact sports. And don't get me wrong, I understand that there's certain art forms and people can build camaraderie around it. I've been around sports my whole life, and I get all those. I get all the reasons, all the points. It's just like, but if I separate myself and my ego in that manner.
Mm-hmm.
Away from the fact of the things that I enjoy, and I just look at it kind of like, man, is this really
Worth it?
Yeah, it's really, and from my perspective, it's not. But not everybody's going to see it that way, and that's okay. Because it's not going to go anywhere. Again, my opinion does not matter. It does not matter.
No, it's
me talking on a podcast is not going to change.
You know
America.
what? You know what opinions matter? The matter. I'm not just going to say the mothers of this country who are like, yeah, you're going to play baseball or soccer or basketball,
they getting bread
or you just
soccer.
or you just going to hit the books. You
Soccer
know what I'm saying?
players
Like
get
you're
bread.
not playing football, and because there are a lot of mothers who love football as much as the fathers do.
True.
But there's just
Or even more.
Yeah,
even
honestly.
more.
So there's just going
My
to
grandparents watch it.
my mom. I mean,
faithfully, don't they?
One of my grandparents, she's like 91. The other ones, it's like they watch it. They into it. Like, Christmas was talking about NFL.
I believe
and
you.
was the only one that was not
into the conversation.
I don't even know what y'all are talking about.
Yeah. So no, I mean, and that's that's the thing. It when it's a whole bunch of mothers who aren't going to sign permission slips.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That's what it's getting to. Like there are more kids playing soccer now. There are more kids.
But some people are looking at their kid as a meal ticket. They're gonna make them get out there.
That's
and play
the
football.
point.
Yeah.
Because you got to remember they're parents that are living vicariously through their children.
Or they're impoverished. They're looking at, okay,
the
my
ticket.
child is athletic.
Yep.
This is our way out of our situation. You know what I'm saying?
But that just think about it. I've seen professional football players who are like, "Oh, I'm not letting my kid play football."
Yeah. Absolutely.
We're not going to be that family that has generational. It's not going to be a whole bunch of us saying, we're not going to be the Matthews or the. I mean, there's several families that got generational
the Mannings.
situations. Yeah.
They got that paper.
Yeah, so they're not.
they're quarterbacks.
They're
They did it
quarterbacks. They
smart.
don't get hit
Right.
every play.
And the way
Jerome
they
Bettis used to talk about how he don't know how he played every Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's like, I'm pretty much was crippled the whole week, and I don't know where I got the energy to play.
Y'all
Got a
see-
couple
Scored off.
shots.
Yeah.
y'all see Barry Sanders was like, look, I know y'all can call me the GOAT. If you don't, it's cool, but I'm about to ride out at early 30s and I'm gonna chill.
Calvin Johnson.
Johnson.
And you know why? Because but this is also a different set of circumstances. Calvin Johnson got his money, took care of his money, and his mother's a doctor. They don't come from a situation to where
That's
they're like,
fair. That's
all
fair.
right, we need you to get out there and play one more year so we can pay for this house. There's not a situation like that.
And that's actually, to your point, there's more of that. That's the real situation with other families. So